Okay, thank you so much to Dr. Joe and the whole CM Venture Capital team for giving us this opportunity to talk about our foundation's work in catalyzing innovation for climate impact. So perhaps I'll just, before I go on to the actual details of the presentation, perhaps allow me to briefly introduce Temasek Foundation. So briefly, we are a philanthropic organization under Temasek Holdings, the investment company. So the way this works is that every year, Temasek Holdings sets aside parts of the returns above the risk-adjusted cost of capital for philanthropic use, and these remain invested in endowments which have various mandates covering areas such as climate and sustainability, health and wellness, education, and so on. So as reflected by our mission, which is stated here, inspiring lives for every generation, that whole sustainability piece is very important to us. And so I am from the Climate and Livability team, and a big part of our work is in catalyzing innovation to tackle climate change. And the reason why we feel that really innovation is an important piece, although actually I think probably everyone here is quite familiar with it because we're all involved in the innovation ecosystem. But basically we believe that there are a lot of needs that cannot be addressed with just policy changes alone right now, because there needs to be better solutions, feasible solutions to tackle these problems. So even though there has been so many commitments towards tackling climate change, we still see GHG emissions basically increasing year after year, creating a new high last year actually. And as you can see in the second diagram, these are like all the areas where we have a lot of GHG emissions. So these are also the areas that our foundation focuses on to tackle with climate innovation. So of course, the big problem with innovation, at least in a lot of the geographies that we work in, maybe not so much for China, as we heard that government grants are quite well distributed, but in a lot of different parts of the world, we see what we call the valley of death. Basically, when innovations spin off from wherever they come from, usually universities and research institutions, so on, they get to the stage where they need to do real-world validation in an operational environment. But this is where public sector funding runs out, because these innovators have already spun off into startup companies, and they are also too early to get private sector funding from venture capital, from investment companies, from so on, because it is too risky. Real-world validation, scaling up from the lab to a real-world environment is a very risky business. But that's where we, a philanthropic organization, can come in, because we are not seeking returns. We are not taking equity in the funding that we give out. We give out pure grants. So we provide catalytic capital, catalytic grant funding to support proof of value pilots to help these innovations cross the valley of death, get their validation data, so that they can go on to get their first customers, they can go on to fundraise, and they can go on to scale up. And the ultimate impacts that we want to see is for these innovations to address climate change at scale. So the way we go about looking for the best solutions, because we also have limited resources, is that we organize sustainability innovation challenges in the key geographies that we are most familiar with and have the most partners in, and also have a lot of operations in. So the 4 geographies that we are focusing on is, of course, we started in Singapore, which is where we are from. But we have scaled on to Vietnam and Indonesia since 2023, and now we are very honored to be here today to really share with you the China Challenge that we have just launched in partnership with Vertex Ventures China and our other partners, including CM Venture Capital. And really, through all of these platforms, every year we receive currently roughly 2,200 proposals from more than 100 countries, and we want to continue to see this. And an important point to make here is that, firstly, we take no matter which competition it is, we take proposals from companies from any country. We're agnostic to where the company comes from. The only difference between the different platforms is that the pilot that we support with our funding has to be done in that particular country, because that addresses like the needs that most of our partners see as very important. And this is the challenge that we started with, the Livability Challenge in Singapore. So we actually just completed the finale of this year's round last week. And this was our 8th Livability Challenge, because we started in 2018. And every year the themes can be different, but this year's theme we had basically decarbonization and cool earth. So the 2 winning solutions were actually for hydrogen storage and for advanced insulation. And one of the companies is from Canada, Iton Energy, and then Crosslinker is a Singapore company. So we really take proposals from anywhere in the world. Basically, we provide gateways for companies from anywhere in the world to enter those geographies where we are working in. And moving on, these are all the past winners that we have had for the Livability Challenge over the years. Well, actually now I haven't added in the 2025 winners yet, but basically we have supported 11 companies so far. And we are quite honored to share that they have gone on to be quite successful in fundraising, raising a total of 575 million Singapore dollars, just roughly 30 亿人民币 in follow-on funding. And this is the kind of, I mean, we are not taking investments, so it's not that we are looking for return of investment. Instead, we look at follow-on funding as a measure of how well these companies are scaling up and really going on to address real-world issues at scale. So one of the examples is actually the 2021 winner, which is Equatic. That is a US company that does decarbonization by extracting carbon dioxide, dissolved carbon dioxide from seawater using an electrolysis process. They won our 2021 challenge and won a $1 million Singapore dollars grant to do a pilot in partnership with Singapore's Public Utilities Board, which has a desalination plant. So by extracting out the carbon dioxide from seawater, it actually makes it more energy efficient to do the desalination. And on top of that, it generates hydrogen, and it feeds back into the energy equation that is needed for electrolysis. So this technology basically is commercially viable, even though electrolysis is quite expensive normally. And they have gone on to get another 20 million from our Singapore government to do a larger scale plant, and then they also won another 100 million US dollars to go on to scale up in North America. So we look for this kind of outcomes where the projects the technologies get bigger and bigger, so that we really achieve what we want to achieve, which is to tackle climate change at scale. So, and then for the Indonesia challenge, where we're also very grateful to CM Venture Capital again for being our partner. So as you can see, the needs are a little bit different because that depends on the needs of the particular geography, right? So in addition to energy transition, circular economy, we also have one piece on sustainable agriculture, which is actually very important to us because food security is a big topic for us as well. So we are very happy to share that again. Many thanks to CM Venture Capital, who actually introduced a Chinese company to us, NWise, and I think NWise is probably among the audience as well. Thank you so much for participating in our Indonesia competition. And we're really happy to share that they attracted the attention of one of our strategic partners for the Indonesia Challenge, which is APP Cinemas, Asia Pulp and Paper. They are basically a conglomerate in Indonesia with a lot of businesses ranging from food and agribusiness to real estate and so on. But they are interested in the technology, and we understand from the NWise team that they have gone on to pursue a collaboration with them. So basically, our network of platforms provide companies from across the world with a chance to go on to either a new geography or to simply scale up in the initial geography of choice, or rather to conduct a pilot to be adopted in their initial geography of choice. So for the Vietnam challenge as well, as you can see, we have themes that are very similar to the Indonesia challenge because the two countries have very similar needs. And now we are here to advertise the Green Future Innovation Challenge that we're organizing with Vertex Ventures. And we actually launched just last month on the 23rd of April in Shanghai as well at Fudan University. So many thanks again to both Fudan University and Yangpu government and many other partners to really allow us to launch here for the first time. And the themes we have are energy transition, industrial decarbonization, sustainable agriculture, and pollution reduction. And that basically covers all of the critical needs that we also had seen in the earlier slide, right? So like energy transition, we take solutions in, say, renewable energy, in battery recycling, in hydrogen storage and transport, in smart grid technologies and so on. So anything that can enable us to move on to sustainable energy. And of course, for industrial decarbonization, we're looking for any kind of solution that can tackle the problem of greenhouse gas emission from all those hard-to-abate industries. And sustainable agriculture, really all solutions that help us achieve food security in a sustainable way. So everything from low carbon rice or like other types of crops to also technologies that, for example, improve the yield or the feed conversion ratio if you're talking about, say, shrimp and fish farming and so on. We know that in China, this technology is also already very advanced, but we want to see more solutions from China because we want to be able to bring some of them back to Southeast Asia as well. So we have included that as a theme. And then pollution reduction is a really broad theme that covers all kinds of pollution as well as waste management. So that includes like all the circular economy solutions as well. And we're really looking for a lot of proposals. So we would very much welcome all the startups who are in the audience to please participate in this challenge if you're interested to conduct a proof of value pilot in China. And right now, our prize pool is 5 million renminbi. And it might potentially grow larger because we are still discussing with more partners on the prizes. So right now, as mentioned, we launched in April on the 23rd. We have submissions open all the way until the 25th of July. And then after that, from August to September, we will be doing one round of shortlisting. And the 8 or 10 or so finalists will go on to receive some coaching before they pitch at the finale, which is estimated to be in October 2025. And then once they win, they secure prizes, and then the prizes will support them as grants to run a pilot project. So by grants, I mean that we really don't take equity. We're just giving out this funding to support the proof of value pilot. And in terms of the eligibility criteria and the judging criteria, for eligibility, as mentioned, any company that is interested to run a pilot of their technology, of their proprietary technology in China can participate. And in terms of evaluation, we're looking for the most innovative solutions, most feasible, and also most commercially viable. And basically, they have to address all three of these criteria in order to win the challenge. So finally, we are very thankful to all of our partners, including Vertex Ventures, CM Venture Capital, and our many other partners listed here for really allowing this to happen. And if there are anyone in the audience who is interested to explore partnerships with us as well, please come to me afterwards or simply scan my WeChat QR here. Or if you're interested to learn more about our challenge, we have our website, gfic.cn, which is very easy to remember. And of course, our 微信公众号, the QR code is also here. And for that matter, our Indonesia challenge is also simultaneously open, but will be closing soon. So if anyone is interested in the Indonesia market, please visit the website below. And then, the Singapore challenge has already just ended, but then we'll have another cycle start in about September. And if you're interested in Vietnam, we will be launching that later, in the later part of this year as well. So everything is here. Please feel free to take a photo. And thank you very much, everyone.